I've said from the start that the pandemic has been overblown. People have freaked out horrendously for little to no reason. This whole thing equates to a mutation of a virus that lives in the same family as the influenza. And I've also gone on to say that the government at all levels have mishandled this whole thing since the start. And now, if you live in Canada, or more specifically, if you live in Ontario or know what's going on, the government in Ontario, and to a lesser extent Canada, have pushed for vaccine certifications that you take with you either in paper form or you scan on your phone as a QR code that showed that yes, indeed, you are double vaccinated, so you can go into non-essential businesses, i.e. movie theaters, large events, restaurants, bars, gyms, things like that. And the push for these certificates was so hard to get them instituted. And what really boggles my mind right now and drives me completely crazy is the fact that our provincial government, and this is off of their own website as well as their press releases, and the Premier Doug Ford, who I unfortunately did vote for the first time around, but he's pissed me the fuck off. I'm not apologizing for my profanity this time. They've announced that March 28th is the tentative date scheduled for when the mask mandate will finally be withdrawn, and in my humble opinion, it should have been withdrawn before it even started, as well as the removal of the vaccine certificates and any proof of vaccination we must need. So look at it this way. They spent all of this money on websites, promotion, advertisements, to make sure that we all knew about the vaccine certificates and the proof of vaccination micro passports, only to rescind them 6 months later at great cost to the taxpayer, I might add. But the main part is they pushed all this and spent all this money just to have it maybe for 5 or 6 months, and then they're going to pull it all away. Really? What is the point of going through all of this if you're just going to remove them all? And I'm also skeptical on the fact that a government that has grabbed the kind of control that they have is going to suddenly get rid of it. I'm confused. And does it affect me per se? Yes and no. I don't go to non-essential businesses or anywhere where I need to show a proof of vaccine because I'm poor and I can't afford to go to those places, so I don't really care in that sense. I just go to essential businesses, retail, grocery shopping, things like that. At the same time, there are 3 events I go to in the winter months. The Toronto International Boat Show in January, the Canadian International Auto Show in February, which is one of my biggest events ever, and sometimes the Sportsman Show in March. And both the boat show and the car show organizers have stated that they will require masks to be in place. They're going to limit the number of people allowed in the convention centers, and there must be proof of vaccine. I don't have a problem with showing the proof of vaccine. You show it once at the door, you register, and you're in. My problem is the fact that they are going to uphold the mask mandate, and even though I did say it was going to go at the end of March, if you're double vaccinated, I've always been of the belief that we should not have a mask mandate for people that are vaccinated, like they've done in some areas of the U.S. that have seen success with this. I do have a nasal condition in the winter months where my nose blocks up and it's hard to breathe from time to time. It's not enough to get me a medical exemption. But that being said, anyone who knows me knows that I spend anywhere from 8 to 10 hours at these shows. I'm there the whole day from open into the evening. I have supper, I have lunch, then I go home. I am not wearing a mask for 8 to 10 hours a day. That is just ridiculous. And the fact that you're going to limit people, the number of people in the convention center. I go to these shows every year. I've been going to these shows for 20 years or more. The amount of people lined up to get in under normal circumstances is beyond ridiculous. You're going to limit this? Just because you're scared of the big bad COVID? Where do we draw a line in all this? And why are my tax dollars being used to put all this out only to rescind it again. It doesn't make any sense. I don't care what anyone says. It does not make sense. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I've gotten both my shots, but this has gone too far. If everybody would just stand together and say, we've had enough, it would be over. But most of you are just too happy to bend over and take it up the ass and let the government do what it wants. Sad but true. If you don't like that analogy, don't listen to my show. You know it's true. You know I'm right. It's that simple. This has gone too far. We need to get back to proper normal as quickly as possible. We need to reopen the economy. We need to get people away from masks, away from all this bullshit that's being put out. I don't trust any of the so-called medical experts out there because they have flip-flopped since this began. Government has flip-flopped since this began. These are the same governments that wanted to send armed police to enforce who was going where on COVID. The exception of the OPP, no police force, thankfully went that route. But it's beyond ridiculous. Anyways, that's all for today. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. If you have a take on this whole situation, leave a comment below. I would love to hear what everyone's talking about. Have a great day.